Imagine waking up tomorrow, and money is no longer a problem. Your debts are gone. Your bills are covered. You don't need anyone's permission to leave a job. You don't need to tolerate people you don't respect. You don't need to worry about the next paycheck. At first, it sounds like freedom. But then something unexpected happens. You realize that wealth doesn't just change your lifestyle. It starts changing your identity, the way you see yourself, the way you see other people, the way you use your time, and eventually, the person you become. When you're constantly worried about money, time feels different. You trade hours for income. You accept opportunities because you need them. You stay in environments because you can't afford to leave. You say yes because saying no has a financial cost. But wealth changes that equation. Suddenly, time becomes more valuable than money. You start asking, how much of my life is this going to cost me? That is a completely different question, and it can transform your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who has to accept everything. You become someone who can choose. You begin protecting mornings, protecting focus, protecting sleep, protecting relationships. Because you finally understand something most people discover too late. Money can be earned again. Time cannot. And once you truly understand that, you never look at your life the same way again. Wealth can also change the way you carry yourself. Not because money makes you superior, but because financial security can reduce desperation. Rejection feels different when you know you will survive it. Failure feels different when you know you can rebuild. You become more willing to negotiate, more willing to walk away, more willing to wait, and that can look like confidence. But there is a dangerous distinction. If your confidence comes from your bank account, then your identity is still fragile. Because wealth can disappear. Businesses fail, markets fall, careers change. Money can leave as quickly as it came. Real confidence comes from something deeper, knowing that even if everything disappeared, you would still know how to rebuild. One of the most uncomfortable transformations can happen in your relationships. Because money doesn't only change you, it changes how people perceive you. Some people become inspired. Some become jealous. Some suddenly need something from you. And some people begin treating you differently without ever admitting why. But the change isn't always outside of you. You may change too. You may become more private, more selective, more protective of your time. You may stop telling everyone your plans, stop explaining your decisions, stop giving everyone access to your life. Not because you're becoming cold, because you finally understand that access has value. The older you become, the more you realize that not everyone deserves the same level of access to your energy, your attention, or your future. When you're younger, luxury often looks like objects. The car, the watch, the house, the clothes, the vacation, the things people can see. But wealth can eventually teach you a different definition of luxury. Luxury becomes waking up without financial anxiety. Luxury becomes controlling your schedule. Luxury becomes privacy. Luxury becomes choosing where you live. Luxury becomes spending an afternoon with someone you love without checking the clock. Luxury becomes saying no. No to the job. No to the relationship. No to the opportunity. No to the lifestyle that looks impressive but feels empty. And eventually you discover something profound. The greatest luxury isn't what you can own. It is what you are free to choose. Money has an unusual psychological effect. It amplifies. If you are generous, wealth can give your generosity more reach. If you are disciplined, wealth can allow you to build faster. If you are insecure, money can give that insecurity a much larger stage. If you're reckless, wealth simply gives your recklessness more expensive consequences. That is why money doesn't automatically make people better. It simply gives the person already inside them more room to express themselves. So the deeper question isn't, what would I buy if I became rich? The deeper question is, what would money reveal about me? Would you become more generous, more patient, more selfish, more peaceful, more arrogant, more disciplined, more isolated? Because wealth doesn't answer that question, it reveals your answer. But there is a darker side. The moment wealth becomes your identity, losing money can feel like losing yourself. Imagine building your entire personality around the things you own: the house, the business, the title, the lifestyle. Then one day, something disappears. The company fails. The investment collapses. The career ends. And suddenly you don't just feel like you lost money, you feel like you lost yourself. That is the trap. Never confuse what you possess with who you are. Your possessions can disappear. Your reputation can change. Your circumstances can collapse. But your character, your knowledge, your discipline, your ability to adapt, those things remain. And perhaps this is the most unexpected transformation of all. Wealth can give you enough distance from survival to finally hear yourself think, without constant financial pressure, without constantly trying to impress people, without staying somewhere you hate because you have no alternative. You get space. And in that space, you begin to discover what you actually want. Maybe you don't want a bigger house. Maybe you want more freedom. Maybe you don't want more followers. Maybe you want privacy. Maybe you don't want more possessions. Maybe you want experiences. Maybe you don't want a larger circle. Maybe you want deeper relationships. Maybe you don't want to look successful. Maybe you simply want to feel free. And this is where wealth becomes truly powerful. Not when it changes your wardrobe. Not when it changes your address. Not when it puts expensive things around you. But when it changes the number of choices you have. Because real wealth gives you options. The option to leave. The option to wait. The option to build. The option to rest. The option to start again. And eventually, you understand that the goal was never just to become rich. The goal was to become free enough. To become yourself. So ask yourself this. If money stopped being a problem tomorrow, who would you become? Not what would you buy, not where would you live, not what car would you drive. Who would you become? Because the greatest transformation wealth can create is not a richer lifestyle. It's a stronger identity, a calmer mind, a greater sense of choice, and the ability to live according to your values instead of your fears. Build the person first, then build the wealth, because money can change your circumstances, but only you can decide what kind of person those circumstances reveal. This is grand mentality. Build the mind, build the life.